Yo, sup, it's Ny3 and today we're going to be deck profiling current format Ritual Beasts. Now, I'm going to go into quite a lot of depth for this video, and I'm going to be assuming that the target audience of this video has a lot of prior knowledge in this deck, which means for those of you who have not played this deck a lot, you might feel a bit lost, so I'm going to keep the profile short and leave all the discussion after the profile in the same video. So this video is probably going to end up being quite long, but let's just get started with the deck profile. So for the main deck, monsters, 1 Pedalfin, 3 Carnahawks, 3 Rampengu, and 2 Apelios. The Spiritual Beast lineup, pretty standard. The ratios have more or less been worked out throughout these couple of formats, and they are pretty good. No reason to change it. For the Tamers, I have 1 Lara, 3 Elder, 2 Zephyr Pilica, 1 Wen. The Tamer lineup again is pretty standard. The one that I chose to double up on is Zephyr Pilica because I am running the field spell build. And I'm maining 1 Maxi for the hand trap, which I will talk about later on. Spells lineup, 1 Dimensional Fissure, Field Spells, Brain, Research Lab, Chicken Game, Oracle of Zephyr, 1 each. Foolish Burial, Gold Sarcophagus, 2 instant fusions. Three Terraforming, 3 Upstarts, 1 Ritual Beast Bonds, and 1 Twin Twister. And that's all for the spells. Now the trap lineup, 3 Ambush, 3 Steeds, and a Torrential Tribute. Extra deck, we have 1 Nodin for the 2 instant fusions, double OT Pedalfin, the 1 Lonely OT Carnahawk, 3 OT Apelios, and 2 OT Gaia Apelios. Exceeds, we got 1 Grampulse for the rank 3, Emerald, Diamond Dire, Abyss Dweller, Lightning Chidori, and a Giant Hand for the rank 4s. Side deck changes a lot, but right now I have the 1 Soul Drain, 1 Mask of Restrict, the other 2 Twin Twisters, 3 MSTs, 3 Forbidden Chalice, double System Down, Necro Valley, Gam Seal, Flying Sea. So that's the deck profile, and now for the discussion. So we'll start off at the traps. 3 Ambush, 3 Steeds is pretty standard. Sometimes I side 1 ambush out going second, just because it's not really fast enough. If they open a lockdown plus 8k board, you don't really have the luxury of summoning your Rampengu and setting your ambush and passing anyways. So there is really no real good reason to open an ambush going second against a fast deck unless they brick. The 1 Torrential is pretty good monster removal, and you have your Chain Link 2 Torrential plays with your OT fusions, and I just think it's a pretty powerful card right now. Instead of the other potential one-offs such as the Solemns, Bottomless, Solemn Strike. I'm not running Solemn Strike since I believe that this deck has monster removal covered already. So Solemn Strikes are pretty much just unsearchable and unnecessary pieces in every matchup apart from the Cosmo matchup, since the Cosmo monsters do a lot of dodging. In that sense, the Solemn Strikes are just working as a stall card, so you can stall it out until you get to your combo pieces. Whereas I think it's much more efficient to just straight up run more combo pieces and get those auto-win early game scenarios faster. I'm not running the Macrocosmos in the main or the side. Macrocosmos, if it is run, it must be mained and not sided. I sided out game 2 and 3 every time against any deck that has the possibility of siding in Imperial Iron Wall, since if they have the Imperial Iron Wall, they are definitely going to side it against you. And if you draw your macro and they draw their Iron Wall, you just took an egg one for absolutely no reason. That's that for the traps. For the spells, the one Twin Twister, I just didn't have enough space to main more of these. The discard does let you convert your hand advantage into board advantage if you open the right tamers and the right beasts. Twin Twister discarding a Carnahawk and bringing it back with Rampilica is not as good a play as it used to be. So I don't really find that the graveyard setup that Twin Twister offers is mandatory or anything to the deck. As for back row removal, such as Solemn Strike, people often think that this deck loses to Solemn Strike for some reason just because ulti Carnahawk is at 1. The deck can gain advantage pretty easily without ulti Carnahawk. You can just start up the mini Carnahawk engine, getting you a +2 every turn with a 2-turn delay. So it's not really that big of a deal. Solemn Strike, you can usually play around it by overlaying first. I've even baited Solemn Strike with the ulti Carnahawk before because I had the Diagusto Emerald play. So instead of 3 Twin Twisters, I have the 2 Instant Fusions here, which can be back removal if I Instant Fusion into a Diamond Direwolf. If I Instant Fusion into Diagusto Emerald, that could get back my ulti Carnahawk if it did die. Instant Fusion is also going to be able to summon out your giant hand, stuff like that, to provide additional defense. With the hit of ulti Carnahawk to 1, certain combos such as Rampilica bringing back Carnahawk from the graveyard or the Rampingu plays have become much weaker, but your instant fusions are there to bring back your Apelio. Even though Noda negates the Apelio, you can still banish 1 Ritual Beast for cost, which is very often the difference between 1 search and 2 search with ulti Carnahawk, or the difference between leaving an ulti Carnahawk on the field that can tag out and can't tag out, all while giving you a free giant hand to solidify your field. In the case if they do manage to Twin Twister your steeds away, you still have that giant hand for protection. If they summon a Dinko, giant hand can negate the Dinko if they activate a monster effect, since you don't have to target the monster that activated its effect. So just things like that. Very versatile card, much better than the single purpose back row removal spells, especially during game 1. So I guess I've gone over the instant fusion as well. Ritual Beast Bonds, it helps you get over some problematic scenarios, as well as being probably your only easy OTK play for this deck, which you need to do once you run out of all 3 steeds. since other decks float forever, so you're not actually playing for advantage, you're playing for time. 3 steeds would give you 2 or 3 free turns to kill your opponent, which is the main purpose of steeds, and you just have to kill them within that time window where you brute force your way through their floaters on those turns with steeds. Now, 3 upstarts is pretty staple in this deck, in my opinion. You just want to get the deck down to a smaller size to get to your combo pieces quicker and more consistently. And your OTKs involving Ritual Beast Bonds are going to be easily 11,000 plus anyways if you are going for it. So it doesn't really decrease the window chance of your OTK plays anyways. Now the Foolish and the Gold Sock. The Foolish should be pretty self-explanatory since I am running Oracle and Zephyr and Pilica engine. So we have a lot of Zephyr and Pilica or cards that get to Zephyr and Pilica in the deck. So it's obviously pretty good. It also makes your first turn Elder Apelio plays a lot better as well, which is a nice bonus. Now Gold Sarcophagus, since OT Carnahawk is at 1, this is one of the things to help remedy the loss in power of the deck, since Rampingu has become a lot worse as it cannot dump your Carnahawk, since that would mean banishing the only copy of your OT Carnahawk. And Gold Sarcophagus just makes those scenarios better. You can open Elder with any spiritual beast, and you can Gold Sarc banish the Carnahawk, and that will convert that awkward Elder and any spiritual beast hand into Elder Carnahawk. So it's pretty good. And if you do open the OT Carnahawk, the Gold Sarcophagus, in addition to that, is going to let you get 3 searches instead of 2. Now the one-off Defissure instead of the Macrocosmos, it's just faster. It can stop hand traps, even though Veiler doesn't really do much most of the time to this deck. Sometimes it does. Ghost Ogre has been dropped. Defissure does hurt a lot of floating and graveyard reliant effects, so you can stop BAs from you can stop Dante from milling, the BAs from floating, you can stop pendulums from floating, you can stop Cosmos from floating, you can stop Idea, Idols, well I guess floating and gaining advantage, and you can get rid of those primes permanently with Defissure. The first thing you do with Defissure is activate Defissure. They're forced to make a decision to whether or not to drop Maxi at that point. And if you open a trap heavy hand, so I'm talking Defissure, they drop Maxi, you summon your Carnahawk, banish something, set 3 traps, you just got a +1 since they dropped their Maxi, and any additional hand traps their top deck are going to be dead until they answer the Defissure. It also makes your Rampingu a lot better. So I've said a lot about Rampingu being not as good anymore, and the Defissure slightly helps remedy that problem. Now the next part is I chose the Terraforming engine over the E-Tele engine or the Brilliant Fusion engine. Of course you could run more than one engine. There's definitely enough things you can cut in here to run more than one engine. Now I'll go over each of the engines and why I think this is the best one and the only one worth running. So in testing, this Terraforming engine has increased consistency of the first turn combo by the most alone by itself. Now the Terraforming engine, apart from searching your sided Necro Valley, the Terraforming engine can grab your Oracle of Zephyr, which is going to get you a Zephyr and Pilica. Sometimes you can trigger the fusion effect, special summon one from hand to extend your combos and potentially even drop, an early game or mid game OT guy Apelio. It can also grab you a chicken game, which is like an upstart. And it can also grab you Brain Research Lab, which is taking a neg1 to summon twice. It does not stack with Alder, which is a shame, I guess, but what it does mean is you can take a -1 to make your non-Alder tamers into an Alder on the first turn. So essentially, you're running, with the Brain Research Lab, you're running 7 Alders, 8, 9, 10 Alders, and I guess Oracle searches as well, so 11 Alders instead of just 3. With the Oracle of Zephyr, you're essentially running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Laras or Zephyr and Pilicas to get stuff back from your graveyard. And the chicken game is just mainly there if you don't need either of these or you drew too many terraformings, you could just turn one of them into an upstart. Now compared to the E-Tele engine, the E-Tele engine does waste a special summon on your tamer, but that has never really been a super important thing for me. The E-Tele engine does let you grab Ghost Ogre plus Zephyr and Pilica, a level 3 Pendulum non-tuner, gives you access to Horus with both effects. Extremely powerful, definitely game winning in some cases. E-Tele Rampingu is very underwhelming. E-Tele Carnahawk is pretty good, but that's relying on drawing the E-Tele with a spiritual beast that has to be Carnahawk for it to be worth it at all, and I just don't think that's a very good engine. Because of that, the third and final engine is the Brilliant Fusion engine. You can Brilliant Fusion for Prismara, turning Brilliant Fusion into a Foolish Burial for Carnahawk, so it does increase access to Carnahawk, especially when used in conjunction with a terraforming engine, because you'll have 7 Lara or Zephyr and Pilica to get back the Carnahawk that you dumped. If you choose to go for Seraphonite, you get 2 normal summons, so it functions as another Brain Research Lab, turning any combination of Tamer with a Spiritual Beast that's not Alder into an Alder plus the Spiritual Beast. But again, that engine depends. You have to run the Oracle engine on top of the Brilliant Fusion engine. You can't really run the Brilliant Fusion by itself and expect high consistency. The hit for OT Carnahawk to 1 does make your Zephyr and Pilica bringing back a Carnahawk much weaker, since when you bring back a Carnahawk with Zephyr and Pilica, assuming no other factors, nothing else engraved, nothing banished, you don't have the Sark or Foolish, just that interaction, you are either going to get 2 searches and leave your only Carnahawk on the field unable to contact out on your opponent's turn, which is terrible, unless you can guarantee that you would be able to emerald it back, or you could only get 1 search, leave your OT Carnahawk on the field able to be tagged out, or you could get 1 search and leave an OT Petalfin on the field. Now all 3 of these are pretty subpar to me. That's why I am not really seeing myself devote 5 main deck slots and 2 extra deck slots just to increase the chances of that subpar first turn play. It does make your Elder Apelios better if you had Brilliant, Foolish, so that's 4 Foolish Burials to put your Carnahawk into the graveyard, and you have access to Apelio. That is really the only time where it significantly makes your opening hand better by having the Brilliant Fusion. But otherwise, it's a lot of dedication for not much of a consistency improvement, unlike the terraforming engine, which is a 6-card dedication in the main deck to improve your overall consistency by quite a substantial amount.